In 1964, Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart said this about hardcore porn: "I know it when I see it." Nowadays, it's estimated that 1 in 3 adult film viewers is a woman. So can the same be said of feminist porn? The genre has its own actors, directors, and awards ceremony, and is considered less and less of an oxymoron. But what exactly is feminist porn, and what is its significance for women and LGBT rights? Joining me now is an editor of the feminist porn book, sex educator Tristan Tormino. Tristan, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So what exactly is feminist porn? Will I know it when I see it?
No, you might not, actually, but feminist porn is ethically produced pornography that challenges stereotypes about things like gender, sex, race, other identity categories, and really attempts to diversify the images we see in the sexual landscape.
Give me an example of what ethically produced feminist porn would look like that challenges gender roles. Like, would the woman come to the door with the pizza box?
Oh, we're getting creative here.
Not
I'm just saying, that's how most porn. Someone ordered pizza. Yeah, that's usually how porn starts, right? I hear, yeah.
But I think that one of the things that happens in a lot of mainstream porn is men are the asserters, they're the aggressors, they're in charge of how things go. And although everything is focused on the woman, her pleasure isn't necessarily a priority. We don't see a lot of depictions of authentic female desire, pleasure, fantasies, or even real female orgasms. And you do see all of, along with women exerting their own sexual power in feminist porn.
And they choose to do that. But in your opinion, why is it wrong to say that pornography is inherently anti-feminist?
Because I think we can't lump all pornography into a category. It's sort of like saying all television is bad. Is there some bad TV? Of course.
So
and is there some groundbreaking TV?
What is good porn in your mind?
Well, I don't want to put a value judgment on it because I want people to watch whatever kind of porn they want. But for me, my process of making porn has to be ethical. It has to be fair. And it's really important that the actors, the performers, really participate in creating this imagery. They aren't just robots kind of acting out a script. They actually are part of the process.
Well, I should have asked Mark that question then. I mean, what is good porn in your opinion?
You know, it's interesting. Actually, I don't watch porn.
Huh. No, I believe you. You sound very sincere.
Yeah, I'm not a porn watcher, but I guess my concern.
Well, I could be. I mean, apparently 1 in 3.
I was gonna say, women actually watch a lot of porn. 1 in 3 women watch porn. So is it you? Is it Alicia? Is it Nancy Red? Which one?
I keep my private life private, Mark.
Okay, you're just saying. She just asked me if I watch porn. No, here's the thing. Here's my concern. I agree that we could reimagine pornography in a way that empowers women, that represents female desire, female interest, that has females taking assertive roles. I get that. My concern, though, is that the gaze that's attached to porn wouldn't change, G-A-Z-E gaze, so that even though the narrative is different, people are still objectifying female bodies as they watch it. So the same guy's watching female porn, and he's not caring about whether the woman's having an orgasm or not. All he cares about is the fact that there's a naked woman there.
Well, I think that all porn it is basically sexually explicit material. So we can't change that. And I don't want to change that. I want there to be a medium where we can see people interact with each other sexually. And just because people are naked and we're pointing a camera at them doesn't mean that they're automatically being demeaned or debased. I think that that's an old concept, that it's automatically bad to objectify, and it's all objectification is demeaning. I mean, again, I think that when the people participate in making the product, obviously when people watch it, they're going to have a lot of different reactions. Some people will just get off. Other people may see themselves on screen, may resonate with something. Maybe someone uses porn as a way to talk about sex with their partner. So people are going to use it in all different kinds of ways. I can't control that. But I can control putting out images and making productions that are fair and ethical and have feminist principles.
This idea, though, that women are just kind of slaves to men when we talk about porn.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could also maybe say that you can play the men's role the same way, right?
No,
The men are naked too, and they're part of this as well.
no, absolutely. It's just in traditional porn, from what I've read, women are simply the subjects of male desire, right? I mean, that's all it's about. And,
Right.
and it ends when men have an orgasm, not when women do.
Absolutely. So, I mean, Tristan, talk to me a little bit about this idea of feminist porn star as an agency, because that seems like the most important part of this conversation.
Yeah, I think it is, because one of the ways that we can start depicting more authentic images of sex and more diverse images of sex is by not following some of these tired formulas of what sex looks like, how intercourse is kind of the goal, and like you said, how the male orgasm is the culmination of all scenes. You see a lot of diversity in terms of what people are doing, how they're doing it, and how they're experiencing pleasure in feminist porn.
Why porn at all, though? I mean, and I'm not being like prudish at all. I don't feel strongly one way or the other. But why does porn become your sort of artistic lens? Why does it become the mechanism that you use to deal with sexuality, to deal with identity, or just to tell a story?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Because I think that we see porn as this kind of throwaway, trashy part of pop culture. But truthfully, it's a really powerful medium. We know that millions and millions of people are watching porn. So I think it's a medium where feminists need to intervene. We need to be there, and we need to be changing the conversation.
And what is our role in that?
Is diverse. I mean, there are feminists who are behind the camera. There are feminists who are performers. There are feminists who are viewers and fans. There are feminist porn critics. I think that we come to it from all these different angles, but we change the conversation, which is what I'm trying to do.
Well, and feminist porn doesn't just focus on women's pleasure. It also dismantles stereotypes about male sexuality. How does it do that?
Yes, this is such an important point, because there's been kind of a conflation of feminist porn and porn for women, and they really are two different things. The thing is that for me, stereotypical porn really does a disservice to everyone. It makes male sexuality one-dimensional and really devoid of any kind of depth or diversity. And if we want to shift the discussion about gender roles and gender roles in the bedroom, we need to tackle all gender roles. So we don't make porn just for women or just about women. It's really about gender equality and how we can bring that to this medium.
No, I think that's absolutely true, because by exploring new possibilities for what sex can look like, and what sexual identities can look like, what sex roles can look like, it liberates men too. You know, I really don't watch porn, but as a teenager I did, and I remember, you know, that's sort of how I learned.
It was a very stereotypical
that's
style
how,
of
that's
porn.
how I learned what sex was supposed to look like. And that's what I thought men had to do.
That's ingrained in our mind.
Yeah, exactly. And so it becomes ingrained in your mind. And so this seems to have, just like feminism itself, it has the ability to liberate men. I would argue feminist porn probably does too. But one thing that seems to be missing from the conversation about feminist porn oftentimes is the LGBT community. How does this affect gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender people?
Well, actually, probably about 60% of the feminist pornographers working today identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or queer, or trans, and make porn by and for LGBT communities. So it's a big part of the conversation. And I think that that piece of it is really important, because there are still too many stereotypes about gay and lesbian sexuality. And when queer people make their own porn, they get to tell the stories. They get to tell their truths. They get to represent their desires.
Can you give me an example? What would be a stereotypical understanding of LGBT sex, or better yet, what do the films offer that challenge stereotypical understanding?
Right. So, you know, there's this genre called lesbian or girl porn within mainstream pornography that often features women who don't necessarily identify as bisexual or lesbian. They don't even like other women, and that comes out in their performance, where they look a little like they're not that into having sex,
right?
And they're just kind of doing it as a performance. And so then you see someone like feminist pornographer Courtney Trouble, who makes queer porn and employs queer performers and often real couples. And the dynamic is entirely different. It's not a performance. It's not a male fantasy of lesbians. It's queer people representing themselves in this sexual space.
Now, this is great.
I've learned so much.
I've learned a bunch. And if you would like to see more of Tristan's work and the feminist porn book, go to puckerup.com. Now we go from porn to politics.
As we always do.
And who could better to bridge that gap than Zach Carter? He joins us next from Washington, D.C.